Okay, in this video we're going to take a look at the difference, the really crucial difference between a free trade area and a customs union. Now, a free trade area, FTA for short, is where countries come together to agree what is hopefully a mutually beneficial reduction or elimination of trade barriers such as import tariffs or quotas. But each country maintains their own trade policies with non-member countries. So the idea is to bring down tariff walls and non-tariff barriers between member countries within the FTA, but each country sets their own external tariffs towards non-members so they can negotiate their own trade agreements with other countries. Good examples include NAFTA, which has now been replaced by the US-Mexico-Canada agreement, USMCA, which in turn is now under pressure under President Trump, and the European Free Trade Association, or EFTA, which includes countries like Norway, Switzerland, Iceland and Liechtenstein. Customs union is a deeper or higher level of integration than an FTA. So in addition to trying to eliminate internal trade barriers between countries, member nations also adopt a common external tariff, CET, for trade with non-member countries. So basically, a common tariff is applied to imports from non-members, and the tariff is the same for all countries for a particular product. So if for example, three countries, A, B and C, form a customs union and they're all importing beef from country D, then the tariff, let's say it's 20%, will be the same for countries A, B and C, hence the phrase common external tariff. But member countries can still coordinate trade policies with non-members. Good examples: European Union Customs Union. So the EU is a customs union. It includes all the EU member states and some external territories. Turkey, by the way, is a member of the European Union Customs Union. And Mercosur, the Southern Common Market, includes Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay and Uruguay. So a free trade area, the aim is to try and bring down, possibly eliminate internal trade barriers, but each country sets its own external tariffs. They can follow, in that sense, their own independent policies. Whereas with a customs union, you have a common external tariff and trade policy is coordinated. Now, quick recap. Both a free trade area and a customs union are steps in the process of economic integration, sometimes called a hierarchy. Let's just quickly go through it. A PTA, partial tariff reductions, preferential trade agreements, but not full elimination. Free trade area, next step, no internal trade barriers, but independent external trade policies. Customs union, the EU, and no internal barriers, but a common external tariff. Single market, customs union plus free movement of labour and capital. And an economic union is where the common market is added to by a single market is added to by harmonised policies, monetary union, fiscal union and so on and so forth. Political union is the highest or the deepest level of integration where countries function as a single political entity. So the European Union is obviously a single market, it's a customs union, it's also an economic union in the sense that the majority of countries have already signed up to the single currency. Now, a really key thing is to think about rules of origin, particularly in free trade areas. So rule of origin is basically where does something come from? And normally free trade agreements require rules of origin to prevent something called trade deflection. So trade deflection is where a country imports goods at a lower import tariff from one member and then re-exports them to another with a higher tariff. So basically rules of origin define what percentage of a product must originate within a free trade area to qualify for tariff-free trade. So think about a Mexican car. Made, manufactured, assembled in Mexico, but it has 75% North American content. So it gets tariff-free status under USMCA, but if it's mostly made with Chinese parts, tariffs might apply. Now, the UK has left the customs union under Brexit, and they've opted for a free trade agreement with the EU. What that does mean is it now faces rules of origin and border checks, which create extra trade frictions. And the evidence so far is that lots of smaller businesses in particular, especially those exporting goods like beef or, candles, for example, those trade frictions have reduced the value of exports from the UK to the European Union because those non-tariff barriers are really quite significant. Quick overview again, free trade area. Countries still have lots of trade flexibilities. They can set their own external tariffs. The complexity is fairly moderate. Rules of origin are required, as we just mentioned. But each country has probably lower negotiating power than under a customs union because they're negotiating trade deals separately. Enforcement is harder because of the risk of trade deflection. Whereas with a customs union, countries are sacrificing trade flexibility because all countries follow the common external tariff. It does require more deeper coordination across countries and, the 27 member nations inside the EU, but it gives them more bargaining power because they have a trading bloc. So the European Union Customs Union can negotiate with other trade blocs or individual countries. And enforcement should be a little easier because you have a consistent, uniform external trade policy. So it's really important to understand the difference between a free trade area and a customs union as part of your international economics.